I should just maybe even start by saying that it's not a show that's only about the medium of painting. In a way, the motivation for organizing a show like this was something that a thread maybe that runs throughout various things I've written or done in the past, which has to do about the artist's search for radicality or breaking outside of the limits of convention and definition. So here we are standing in the first room of the show of unpainted paintings, and we have the show is also loosely organized by thematic groupings or formal connections. And here we have a new work by Dan Cullen, which is crushed flower petals on gessoed canvas, and in response to a work by Andy Warhol, the famous piss paintings, which is urine on gessoed canvas, next to a David Hammond's Kool-Aid on paper. And I was interested in how artists are really, there's a push and pull between convention and really searching for a way of pushing the limits. So I think each room has its own character. The first rooms of the show are more historical, always with a little bit of a twist and hopefully a surprise with either a younger artist or work by a known artist that we might be surprised to see. So the first room being what I just loosely call dirty pictures, with the Yves Klein fire painting, the Auto Mule pre-performance, assemblage, what he called the material builder, the calzolari, salt, and candle painting, all these different de Raymond A's torn posters piece from the 50s. So I was just interested in giving each little chapter, almost every room in the show could be an exhibition onto itself, but it was an exhibition that came together in a way that brought together various threads of things I was working on in the past, but also hopefully opening up to new things. Like Raymond A's is an artist that I knew when I lived and worked in France, and I think we don't see his work very much, and he's not given maybe as much importance historically as I feel his work is worth. So I hope for a New York audience, for example, that is a nice object to see in the flesh. Paul McCarthy gave us a piece that has never left his studio. It's an ongoing body of work that he makes, but has never publicly exhibited before. And that piece on the floor he considers a painting, and it's the result of him making sculptures on top of rugs that he cuts out. And he's somebody who, for example, not only is deeply knowledgeable about the work of artists such as Diderot, but he collects, and Auto Mule, which obviously he's indebted to, but he collects himself in depth and is quite a scholar of.
Has he shown them?
No.
So this is the first time?
Yeah, it's the first time he's work like that out of the studio. I think looking at a materiology work of Jean Dubuffet is not something you see every day in New York. Dubuffet is often thought of as a completely different artist, and I think in that context with the Rauschenberg,
That's an incredibly nice video. I've never seen any work like it, and I really love it.
Yeah, it may be something that's better known in Europe than here. In the works of cloth and knitted pieces, we all know Blinky Palermo, who's like the godfather of that room, but the Julian Schnabel piece was something that I saw in his studio several years ago and just remembered, and I even remember when I went there and I thought it was a work by another artist, so it was nice. I always like to have those types of surprises. Or Sheila Hicks, who's an artist that is maybe taken up more in the applied arts world, but is somebody who is also, in my estimation, a modernist painter, and who's been working since the 60s, and this little painting that she made out of stainless steel fibers really has its place within that moment of art history. And
It's a retrospective, right?
Yeah, but she's not somebody who, like young artists don't know. there's a young artist in that room who's only had one exhibition, and Betbeze, the rug piece. Other surprises, the work by Suga, the Manoha artist. Even though it's a later example of his work, I think that still to bring that thread into a certain type of meta painting practice is an interesting twist.
And you put it across from that. Oh!
I'd be happy to see just the Rush.
He came on my own and his whole baggage into one of the things now crazy baggage. He put this in my office. So he would have customers that is.
So I have this cool
Okay.
No,
the luggage.
very sweet.
That's just
So I
sometimes he's not so. So I need to show it, then I come and
Right.
I'm
I'm so happy to see that. I'll email you